welcome. It is 2023. And so I'm looking to press on with this channel this year, and that starts with obviously putting this DB11 back on the road. Now there is obviously one very fundamental issue with this, is that the suspension has been completely mullered. And so whilst I have never done a suspension before, I've watched a few YouTube videos, and well, I'm gonna try and learn as I go. So this could probably go one of two ways, that being really well or really badly. Most likely the latter, but let's jump into it.
Okay, so of course to fit new suspension we had to remove all of the broken original parts. To get the old strut out, I had to lift the engine protective frame so I could get access to all the bolts in the strut tower. This was just a case of removing about 6 bolts. After that, I unclipped the electrical connection, taking out the bolts in the strut tower, and sure enough, out it popped.
So what I've done is I've used the other side for reference, so we need to put this control arm in first, which will then basically, when we put the new strut in, it will connect into here. So it'll go through here and that'll support it basically. So we're gonna get this arm in first, just so it can support the strut, so it's not just hanging there.
Now this proved to be quite an awkward job, as I could only screw in the top bolt by using all my extensions in my toolbox and using my torque gun, going from the top of the engine bay down past the AC fuse box onto the bolt. This was awkward AF, but we got the job done.
Whilst I've sort of just been filming this, I've just realised I haven't actually taken out the old remains of this, because there's hardly any of it. So I'm gonna actually quickly take this out, ready for our new one to go in. But my God, that was bad. Whew.
So I removed the broken bushing and fit the second part of the lower control arm to the chassis. With that done, it was on to fitting the new strut. I started by fitting it to the strut tower before slowly but surely fitting the lower bushing into the lower control arm. Now the new strut had been fitted, I could reattach the engine protective frame, as I wouldn't need access to the strut tower bolts anymore.
Alrighty, well as you can see here, I have actually connected the sway bar for now. That is just more to keep it out of the way at this stage. I have got a new strap coming here. I think they call it the boot strap or the sway bar strap or something like that. So I do have a new one of those arriving, but that won't arrive till sort of mid-January, so I'm just looking to kind of keep it out of the way. But obviously once that arrives, we will then replace that and put that in. I was sort of looking around for ages, and all I could find was an actual to replace the whole bar, which I wasn't really keen on that idea. I was looking at sort of 400, 500 quid, something silly like that. So I've managed to source just the strap anyway from Chris at Aston Bits, so thank you to Chris. And it was considerably cheaper. I think it was like 50, 60 quid or something like that. So a lot better. That'll arrive soon. We'll get that fitted. But in the meantime, we're gonna go ahead and just build the rest of the suspension now as well. Well, a point on this, I actually thought it was going to be okay initially, because we did have the ball joint, but obviously as I've sort of learned more as I've gone, I've realized that you can't literally just pop this back into here. I reckon it'll, well, it won't be safe anyway. I wouldn't be comfortable with the idea that it could just pop out and literally just throw me off the road. So I've actually replaced this part now. As you can see here, we've got another one here with the ball joint still in absolutely fine working conditions. So we're gonna fit that now.
So on with the upper control arm, which proved to be fairly straightforward with a bit of minor adjusting here and there.
I've got a feeling they might need a bit of convincing. And we're just gonna try and, there we go, that's what's going in now. Sort of just trying to line it up with the holes as best as I can do it. Alright, let's see how that looks. Yeah, there we go. We got it. We got it. Alrighty, so just got to tighten it on here now. In a bit. So just using the rubber mallet so I don't damage anything. Or at least that's the idea anyway. There we go, that's going through now as well, excellent. So when I took out the old one, these bolts were facing sort of outwards, if that makes sense. So I'm just putting them on the same way. One thing I've read to do is basically to put the actual suspension under load before you tighten it up fully. So a lot of these I've tightened sort of as tight as I can go, hand tight, but obviously they're not torqued off yet, so I'm going to torque them shortly. But yeah, it seems okay so far. And I've actually just secured this to the frame to stop it dropping at the correct height. So as I tighten this, I'm going to hold it down a little bit just to make it completely correct.
With all 4 bolts torqued, apologies I forgot to film one of them, we were ready to move on.
There we go. That's that one in. All right, that should get in there. There we go. Oh, there we go.
This next bit proved to be the most difficult bit, fitting the knuckle and brake disc to the suspension arms. The brake disc and knuckle were incredibly heavy, so I decided to use my forklift to slowly lift them up. Doing this, I was able to guide the ball joints on the upper control arm and lower control arm through the respective holes in the knuckle. The tie was only there to make sure the knuckle and disc didn't fall over.
It's on there, it just needs tightening up now. Definitely not the orthodox way, but yeah, I guess this proves I've never done mechanics before. And definitely not suspension, but still next time I think I don't know, maybe try putting the knuckle on first. Not too sure, maybe before I do the lower control arm or something like that. There's definitely a better way to do it than I did it, that's for sure. But anyway, it's there, we're going to tighten it up now.
Having torqued both bolts, it was on to fitting the brake caliper.
So, seems fairly straightforward. Literally 2 bolts here, which I've got here. We'll just connect into here. So,
On they went at supersonic speed. Who knew my body could do this? And there we had it. The suspension was together. Next up was to connect the steering rack to the knuckle. And whilst getting ahead of myself, I initially tried and failed to feed the steering rack screw down through the knuckle hole.
okay, well that wasn't going in, so I've just actually had a look at this side. And the steering rack actually goes from under, which would be why it was getting caught there. So that's the benefit of having this side off, with the wheel off, and being able to have like a complete side, is I'm sort of learning by being able to compare to the other side. So I sort of solved that little issue for us, because that probably would have perplexed me for a little while. But anyway, we can now feed this up, hopefully. Come on. Come on. I'm gonna need to lift this, I think. I'm gonna need to lift this up just to kind of get the right angle on it. There we go, that's got it. So bolt on. Just finger tie it to that. Okie dokie. And then tighten it up.
Of course, during the whole process, I've been torquing these bolts off to the factory spec, which I could see in the manual in PDF format online.
All right. There you go, and that's that one. And that's beginning to look a lot more promising than it was. All right, so we can let that down now. All right. Well, one thing I'm keen to do now, get a tyre on and give it a go. Right, well, just a note on the tyres actually, obviously this is the one that's come off the Aston. And everywhere I looked online, I couldn't find any of these with this particular design. Seems a more common DB11 design is almost for these to kind of spiral outwards. If I've got a photo, I'll put that down here now, just to show you what I mean. But basically, this is the only one I could find. And weirdly, it came with, obviously, it's a different color, but we're gonna need to refurb this and respray it anyway. Same with this one, it does have a couple of smaller scuffs, which we might as well redo if we're gonna do all the alloys. So the color didn't really bother me. We do have the old cap still from the old alloy over there, so not a problem. But the main thing that surprises me is that we got a good tyre here with plenty of tread, pretty much the same tread that we've got on here. So this has only done 5,000 miles, so I'm guessing that's probably about the same. But this whole amount, normally to get an alloy for Aston Martin, you're looking at sort of 350, 400 quid, then the tyre's probably another 200 and something on top of that. This one, the tyre and the alloy was 350 quid, which is incredible. So I don't mind having to do a little respray on that. That's an incredible deal. Very happy with that.
So on with the tyres. I didn't actually bother torquing these down because I'm gonna have to take them off again soon anyway. I just wanted to see if it worked. Once the wheels were on, it was just a case of letting it back down and getting them off the jacks.
Alrighty, so just to get this mudguard out of the way, I've temporarily just tied it back. We're going to see if we can actually get this to move forward and backwards under its own steam. Alrighty. I'll give it a go at steering as well. Let's have a go. Alrighty, let's do it. So foot on the brake. Okay, you're just going to sit there.
And well, would it all work? You'll have to find out next time.
Well, I'm sorry to have to leave it there. You're going to have to find out next time if that worked. Obviously, at the moment, I would really appreciate a subscribe and a like to help trying to build the tracks and get things sort of into motion. Obviously, we don't have any sort of funding or anything like that because we can't even monetize it. We need 1,000 subscribers first. So if you want to support this channel, if you want to watch me do more stupid stuff like incorrectly fit a suspension, then do like and subscribe and you'll be doing me a massive favor. Until next time, when you'll see if that engine, well, obviously the engine starts, whether it moves forwards and backwards and turns okay. You'll have to wait and see. Cheers for now, bye bye.